All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another weekly setup. So, last week was, how would I say, was a good and bad week. So, well, that was for last week. So, let's get down to the pairs we'll be having for this week we're entering. So, first pair on my watch list is Euro USD. So, Euro USD on the weekly is at the all-time, it's at a very high place. And if you should use, you can see that market is actually, let's actually break it down. So, this is the low and this is the high. Except to break this low, this high, we are still technically bullish, but it makes sense to sell because this market has not broken these highs in a really long while. So let's go down to the daily where we have more price action. So the daily, you can see whenever we are below, we are selling, below we are selling, above we are buying. So now we are below, so I expect it to sell. Now on the daily, now let's confirm that market is bullish or bearish on the daily. So on the daily time frame, we have markets heading bullish at this point here. Market was bullish here, so we have the shift here because this was the lower low, lower high. So as we broke above this high here, we became bullish. We were moving more bullish, so it became the new lower low and the new lower high. So now this market was still bullish until it broke here, which is at this point here. This is the new lower low and lower high. Sorry, higher low, higher high. So this is the new lower low, the new lower high. And now since this candlestick closed below this low, we have shifted bearish. So this is the new lower high, the new lower low. Now we're retesting our area of interest, retesting to actually look for sales since market is bearish. So we have the daily bearish, the weekly bullish. Now let's see the 4-hour. So let me switch it back to normal chart. So on the 4-hour, market is actually bearish on the 4-hour. So you can see that this point in which market broke here, you can see we have, as I said before, we're bullish here and then we shifted bearish on this run. So this is the high and this is the low. So as we came above this high here, we shifted bullish on the 4-hour. As this candlestick closed above here, we shifted bullish, making here the high and here the low. But now this candlestick closed below this last candlestick here, making here the new low and the new high. So we shifted back bearish. So on the 4-hour, we are also bearish. So we have the daily and the 4 hours moving in the same direction, which is bearish. And on the weekly, we are bullish, but we are at an overall high. So to make more sense to sell than to buy at this place. So you can see as I wrote it down. So on the 4 hours, waiting for you and engulfing on the 4 hours to sell. And that engulfing on the 4 hours, if you go down to the 1 hour, to look more like this. To look more like price action. As you can see, it looks like market is forming a head and shoulder pattern here. It's not yet confirmed. Left head. So expecting market to continue. If it's the head and shoulder pattern forming, to continue it, we'll have the break of this low here. And on the retest, you do have interested to enter this market. But for now, that's kind of market structure I'm looking at on the 1 hour. But on the 4 hour, I'll be looking for an engulfing. Once market forms an engulfing, bearish engulfing on the 4 hours, which is most likely structure on the 1 hour, then I'll be willing to sell this Euro USD to the downside. The next market we have is JPY. This week we have a lot of markets, a lot of opportunities, but we will select the best. So the next JPY. So JPY on the weekly time frame, we have market what? Market is bearish. You can see it is obvious to see itself. So market was bullish at this point here. Let me show you. Lower high, lower low, lower high, and so this is the kind of structure the market is forming here. As you can see it, this is the structure market was forming here. So if you go down, go down to the line chart, because the line chart helps, it makes it easier for us to identify the trend. So we know that identifying the bullish or bearish trend is when market creates higher highs and higher lows, lower lows and lower highs. So market was creating a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So now, if market should close below here, it shifted bearish, and if it should close above here, we're bullish. So currently, market is bullish. We're moving inside this zone. But if you look closely, we have a slight, like market is at that point now, so we expect market to just have a candlestick that just closes below this level to shift it bearish, then a retest to continue the sales. So the weekly time frame is technically still a bit bullish. So let's go down to the daily, because the line chart makes it easier to identify. So that's why I'm on the line chart now. So the daily, this was the lowest point market was. Sorry, we're looking at the bullish trend, right? So this is the low, this is the high, making this the higher high and the higher low since it closed below this. The new higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So market shifted bearish here because this candlestick, this was the low, right, and this was the high. And as soon as we closed above this high here, this became the new higher low and the new higher high. Then as soon as this candlestick closed below here, this became the new higher low, lower low, lower high. So as we closed below this, which was here, lower low, lower high. We closed above here, higher low, higher low, higher high. And now we close below here, lower low, lower high, above, same thing, same thing. And we finally had a shift here because it was the low, last lower low, lower high. So market closed above here slightly, making this the new lower low and the new lower high. Then we had this huge close below here, which shifted it bearish. So what we're hoping for now on this market is the retest, shift of structure at our area of interest to sell CAD JPY. So it looks clean better here, right? So the daily is bearish, the weekly is, I would say it's bearish too. I would say it's bearish because that is way close, too close for comfort. Then so on the 4 hours that the market is bearish. You can see market is last, it was the lower. Let me just mark it out. It was the high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower. Last high market came to here. What last high market came to, and here was its low. So as you can see, we slightly closed. We had a body close below it. We shifted it, which made here the new lower low. Here the new lower low, and here the new lower high. So as markets closed above the here again now, shifted the market bullish. Like here the new higher high, and here the new higher low. So basically what I'm waiting for on the 4 hour for CAD JPY is for a pull into the structure, into my area of interest. Here, a pull into my area of interest, as you can see as I wrote it down, pull back into area of interest and wait for shift of structure to sell. So I wait for market to pull back here so that we can reject from our round psychological level 106,000. Also reject from EMA and from area of interest too. Then wait for a shift of structure to sell CAD JPY. So we're looking for sales on CAD JPY. Next, we have AUD JPY. So AUD JPY on the weekly time frame, we can have, as you can see here, market is bullish. Market is clearly bullish here. Let me do it. You can see market shifted bullish at this point here. Now we are retesting our area of interest. So this is what the price action looks like. Clearly here the market is bullish. This is the low, this is the high, and then after market did not break below here or above here, can see, it's actually bearish. Let me show you why. Where's my line chart? Higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So the daily actually is still bullish. The daily is still bullish. Yes, it's still bullish because, as I said before, so this was the higher low and the new higher high. As far as market does not close below this low, it's still bullish, and how it doesn't close here, we are still bullish too. So this market did not close below this low here. This low did not close below this low, so we are technically still bullish. So now we are actually at the area of interest. We are having like an engulfing candlestick here. You can see engulfed last candlestick. So it's a kind of reversal, bearish engulfing, doji, then engulfing. So we have 2 time frame now, bullish, right? Now the 4 hour. So the 4 hour. Cool. All right. So I don't know whether you guys can see it, but I'm seeing an inverse head and shoulder pattern right here. This market actually looks already ready. So we have the bearish move here, right? We have the bearish move here. So this was the low, right? And this was the high. So market now broke below this low, making this the new low and the new high. Now this market now closed above, making this the new high and the new low, shifting the market bullish back. So the 4 hour is technically bullish. So we have 3 time frames bullish. So now we are actively having that pullback here to continue the buys. So this is basically what the price action looks like on the line. So what I'm just simply waiting for here is for a proper retest of this area. Well, currently we already have a weak retracement, which is actually okay too. So I'll basically be entering, focus on this trade on the 1 hour and 30 minutes, because on the 4 hour you can see our, okay, let me do this one. You can see our inverse head and shoulder pattern here. Left head, right shoulder. Now we have the break of the neckline, and we're actively having the retests to continue the buys. So I already put my alert on this pair. So now this is what it looks like. Left head, right shoulder. We have the break, the retest. Now we are having the retest to continue the buys. Excuse me. So on the 1 hour, you can also see the left head, right shoulder, the inverse left head and right shoulder, and we're having the break retest. Dojis. So what I'm simply waiting for once candlestick market opens, but market is open on a Sunday, so I'm not going to rush anything. I'll wait till London session on Monday, and if market should still give me an opportunity, that's by retracing into this area here and not closing below this engulfing candlestick here. The market does not close below here, it retraces here and it gives me a bullish engulfing. I'll be entering off the engulfing maybe on the 1 hour or on the 30 minutes time frame. It just depends on which one is clean and which one gives me a better structure to enter in. But my entry time frame for the 1 hour and 30 minutes. So that is AUDJPY. Next, NZD card. So NZD card on the weekly time frame. Let's use the line chart for easy movement. So on the weekly time frame, market is technically bearish. Let me show you why. So on the weekly, we have markets giving, this was a lower low, right? Lower high. So this was the last high, last low. This market closed below this low here. Let me show it. Market closed below this low. Made here the new lower low. And here the new lower. Sorry. And here the new lower high. So now as we close below this high, now market basically made here now the new lower low here the new lower high. So until we have a body stick closed below here, we continue the bearish movement, or a candlestick closed above here to continue the bullish movement. So now let's go down to the daily. So the weekly is bearish. Now the daily is actually bullish now. Let me show you why. So the daily is, let's continue. We have, so market is technically bearish around here, right? The lower low and the lower high, sorry, and the lower high. Now in this lower low, as market closed below here, made here the new lower low, and made here the new lower high. Now that we close above it, now here it's the new higher high, and here it's the new higher. Okay, here's the higher low now. So that's what shifted markets here bullish. So on the daily time frame, market is technically bullish on the daily. Weekly is bearish. So let's see what the 4 hour have for us. So on the 4 hour, okay, so on the 4 hour, market is clearly bullish on the 4 hour. You can see the bullish momentum, the bullish movements. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So market is actually bullish on the daily and the 4 hours, and we need 2 time frame in sync to actually identify the market is bullish or bearish. So currently now NCD card is bullish because we have 2 time frame in sync. Now what I'm just waiting for here, now let me go back to my normal chart. Now what I'm waiting for here now is market has broken above and it's actively giving us that retest. I like has given us the retest now, the 4 hour. So all I'm waiting for market is to continue this retest and then give us an engulfing. So once I get an engulfing, a bullish 4 hour, a complete 4 hour engulfing candlestick, I will continue this buys to the upside. This market looks very clean. It looks very clean. Just normal. It looks like a channel, right? It looks like a channel. It looks like a channel. See, I was right. It looks like a channel. Very clean market. So you just have to follow this channel I'm going. So we'll just wait for an engulfing to continue this buys to the upside. Next pair, NZD/USD. So NZD/USD on the weekly time frame is bearish, very bearish. We can see the shift of structure over here, around this point up here. You can see as market shifted up here, right? It created the head and shoulder around here. Break, retest, break. Now I've broken below this area of interest, and we're obviously very bearish on the weekly. On the daily, still bearish. And on the 4 hour, we are actively bullish at the 4 hour. So what we're waiting for the 4 hour now, since we are bullish on the 4 hour, is for the market to get to our area of interest, which is close to, give us a shift of structure to shift it bearish, and then we'll be looking for our entries on NZD/USD. So no much. NZD/USD looks very clean. GBP, JPY. So I arrange the pairs according to the pairs that move, that I see that will move faster. So that's why they are much like this. But my top pairs are Euro/USD, CAD JPY, AUD JPY, NZD, and NZD CAD. So GBP JPY too, I like GBP JPY, but it's just going to take a bit of a while to happen. And USD JPY too. So let's just get down to it. GBP JPY. So market GBP JPY, you can see on the line charts. On the line charts, market is bearish. Let me show you why I said market is bearish. So let's take this for instance. So you can see that market was bullish right here. Alright, market was bullish here. This was the higher low. As it broke above here, made here the higher high, right? And this was the higher low. So now as this candlestick closed above here, made here the new higher high, and here the new higher low. And as market closed below here, made here the new higher low, sorry, made here the new lower low, the new lower high. So what we're waiting for now in this market We're actively just waiting for market to have a retracement, just for this to happen. This is what we're just waiting for to happen. That's all, very simple. So on the weekly is bearish. On the daily, same thing. Market is bearish on the daily, because as we closed above, this was the high, it was the low. We closed above this with this candlestick here, making it the new high low, and close below. The same thing happened on the weekly. What happened on the daily? The daily also too is bearish. We're actually having the pullback. Now the 4 hour. The 4 hour now is bullish. You can see the shift of structure that happened here. So market was actually bearish here. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high. So market shifted bullish on the 4 hour. So what we're waiting for is market to approach our area of interest, give us a shift of structure to shift back bearish, rejected from area of interest and our EMA also, and then we'll continue the sales on GBP GPY. So this week has a lot of good markets. A lot of good markets. We just have to be selective to get the best one with the best moves. So next USD JPY. So USD JPY, basically the same thing with GBP JPY. We're looking for sales on this market too. So on the weekly is technically bearish. The weekly is bearish. Let me show you why. Let's go to the line chart so I can see it better. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Let's use this in my chart. So let's start from here. So I can see this engulfing candlestick close below this bullish candlestick here, this doji, this springboard. So it's having a body close below it, or what shifted it bearish on the weekly. So something like this. So it will happen on the weekly. Now on the daily, you can see that on the daily, this is basically the price action that's happening on the daily here. Higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, or giving a lower high. Now this looks like a head and shoulder pattern if we should form completely, because it will basically, this might basically what will happen. So this might have a long-term sell self. USD JPY might have a long-term sales for what I'm seeing here. So market was bullish here, shifted bearish, closing below here. Now we're retesting the neckline of the head and of the potential head and shoulder pattern. So if we should have market pull back to this area of interest and then sell, right? We have the pullback. This is it. Have the pullback complete, and then we're expecting the sell to retest again too. So we can actually catch a very good, maybe 1:10 or 1:7 risk to reward on this trade if you're a swing trader on the, but that's for the daily time frame, right? Now down to the 4 hour time frame. On the 4 hour, market is bearish. No, yes, market is bearish on the 4 hour. Let me show you. So lower high, lower low. So market has not closed below or above any of these areas since, so it's still bearish. So I'm just expecting the market to pull back into this area and then give us our shift of structure as usual to continue the sales to the downside. So we're going for a 1:2 first, then we're watching to see market should break here, so that the daily time frame can give us that break of the neckline of the head and shoulder pattern that is forming, because I like seeing head and shoulder pattern on big time frames. We're having a very clean head and shoulder pattern on the daily, which is going to be very massive. So USD CHF. Now USD CHF, let me explain this pair. It's similar to GBP CHF. So currently we're at a low that we have not been below on this pair, like a historical low. If I should go back, you see the market has, the last time market came to this point was July 11th. Sorry, August 11th. August 2011. That market pushed all the way up. So it's basically the same thing we're expecting here. Which doesn't really matter at this point. Now, the daily time frame. Let's head and shoulder pattern around here. So we have it. Now what we're just waiting for now is basically an engulfing on the 4-hour chart. So we have a shift of structure here to shift this market bullish because this was a lower low, lower high, and the lower low. The new lower high, the new lower low, because this one closed below this low now, and then we shifted bullish here. So on the 4-hour, you can see that on the 4-hour, after market shifted bullish, well, this is the low. Okay, market is bullish on the 4-hour. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and this is the lower high. So market hasn't closed below here. This low here. Market has not closed below this low here. So this market is still bullish technically. So what we're just simply waiting for now that we're here is either an engulfing, basically an engulfing on the 4-hour, but on the 1-hour it's going to look more like we're looking for a shift of structure on the 1-hour time frame. We need market to shift to have the break and retest, like a confirmation that we are done with this mini bearish movement here. So we need a break above this here, this high here, then maybe a quick retest to continue. So for AUD USD, AUD is very bullish, very much bullish. We finally broke above this high on the weekly time frame. We have the retest and a weekly engulfing, which is nice. Then now the daily time frame, we simply have the break retest, breakout again, another retest, which is also nice. Then on the 4-hour, what do we have on the 4-hour? So the 4-hour was what actually? So the 4-hour is actually bullish because it did not. Okay. The 4-hour is actually bearish. Let me show you why. Because this candlestick closed above, slightly above here, picking the new low and the new high. So we shifted bearish here. So now all we're waiting for is just we need market to shift into this area, our area of interest, so that we can have a proper shift of structure. But if the shift of structure should happen here, it doesn't really make sense because our entry signal, our stop loss is going to be way big. So we need a shift of structure into this area of interest. Something like this head and shoulder pattern here. This head and shoulder pattern is here. But we need an inverse head and shoulder pattern since we are looking for the buys. So currently this market is down because it's going to take a while to set. AUD NZD, as you can see, I wrote it here, high risk counter trend trade. So let's just get down to it. So the weekly time frame, right, this market is pretty much bullish, but we are at a very, let me show you something, because the last time we came here, as you can see, we had engulfing and we sold, and guess where we are again? That same area, having the rejection. So if I should go down to the daily and just go back to that area, you can see that on the daily, okay, here we are. So on the daily, what do we have here? We had a double top. At least we had a reversal chart pattern here. We had a double top, break and retest. Let me mark it out. So we had a double top, break, retest, and then we sold. So that's basically what happened. We had a shift of structure I always talk about. So it's basically what we're just waiting for on this counter trend trade. Remember, it's a very high risk trade. So basically the same thing we're waiting for here. A double top or a head and shoulder, something, just a reversal candlestick. So a reversal chart pattern. So the market to pull back here, then break out again, retest to continue the sell. So this market is actually going to take maybe a while, 2 days or so to set up finish. So the next pair we have GBP AUD. GBP AUD has actually been very nice to me for a while now. So GBP AUD on the weekly, let's just get straight to it. On the weekly we are bearish. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower high, new lower low, and the potential lower high to continue. And you can see on GBP AUD we have a double doji here. Now, whenever we see dojis like this, you see this doji now, we're seeing it at an area of interest, and a doji is normally known as a reversal candlestick, showing that one side is weaker and the other side is getting stronger. That's basically what it's doing. In indecision, which the next move is going to be a move that will either go to the down or the upside. So we have market that is bearish first. Second, we have a double doji at the area of interest. That's on the weekly, which is like one of the strongest time frame currently that I use. So now on the daily, market is bearish because you can market actually, let me just show it out. Very nice. So this is what we have on the daily. We have an M pattern, a break, retests, and now we sold. So we profited from this market last week after having this pattern, and now we are actively pulling back to that area again. So now we'll potentially be looking for the same thing we saw in the 4 hour. So let me go to the 4 hour. Let you see what I actually saw in the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, now first we have head and shoulder patterns, 3 head and shoulder patterns on this trade. I'm going to mark all of them out. So this was the first head and shoulder pattern. So this is the first one. Sorry, my drawing is a bit off. So this is the first head and shoulder pattern. Now if I just copy and paste, let's see, clone, I'll just fix it here. You see, it's basically the same thing. Are you seeing? I don't need to draw it again. Basically the same thing that happened here. 2, and now this head and shoulder pattern looks the one which I entered off, because the one I entered off was the third one, which looks cleaner on the 1 hour and the 2 hours time frame. So on the 1 hour, it looks more like a triple top safe. It looks more like a triple top here, because this was the first top. Market came again, at that top again. So we have like a triple top, a huge bearish engulfing, and a pullback which we continued. I entered off that bearish engulfing, sure. So, but if we are doing the head and shoulder pattern movements, this is what it looks like if it's a head and shoulder pattern. So it's basically left, head, right shoulder, break. So this is what we have. So that's basically what market did. So now what we're basically waiting for is the same thing, the same pattern we just have, because we had at least 3 head and shoulder pattern here, and the market is confirmed bearish, having a double doji on the weekly time frame. So wait for market to pull back up to this area, give us a shift of structure to continue the sales. So this trade is basically this is basically market repeating itself. We're not going to follow what it does and go to the downside. So Euro AUD now. Okay, Euro AUD, we have 2 potential movement on this pair. Now on the weekly, market is bearish, very obvious, bearish, huge bearish engulfing. Now we had the pullback to continue the sale. Now we have markets was bearish, then he now had a bit pullback, so we're expecting a weak fill this week. So on the daily, the same thing, the break, retest, break again. So what I'm seeing now is that I'm seeing market having either 2 moves. One, it pulls back to this first area of interest where we have a sheet of structure to sell, or 2, we have the break and retest below here to continue the sales. As you can see, pull back to previous side, then wait for sheet of structure to sell, waiting for break and retest below to sell. So on the day, on the 4 hour, that's what we're just waiting for the 4 hour. As you can see, similar to Euro AUD, head and shoulder pattern here, a double top here. So at least here too we have shifts of structure around here. So we have at least 3 reasons why we sold this market, or 3 reasons to sell this market. First, we have that each time market comes to this area of interest, there's always a shift of structure to sell, shift of structure to sell. So expecting the same thing here, or we wait for our break and retest below here to sell to this next low here, which give us a 1:2 risk to reward. So GBP USD, we're looking for sales on this pair. Or the daily time frame, market is bearish. You can see it, market is bearish. We broke below here, making it bearish. Now we're actively having the pullback to continue. So what I'm just simply waiting for GBP USD is the break, retest to continue. So it's going to take a while, sure. NZD NZDJPY. Basically the same thing. The last time we were here, we sold, we were here, we sold. And this market is bearish because we closed below here, continue the bearish momentum. So now we're having the pullback. So NZDJPY is going to take a while for us to sell, but we can actually catch these buys for those that are interested in catching the buys. But I do not like counter trend. I only show that AUD NZD because it's a very clean counter trend, and the chances of markets going against me is very low on that. So now on this pair NZDJPY, we already have, okay, so for the counter trend, which is the buys here, let me show you how it's going to go down. So on the buys, we already have our inverse and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder, break. So don't wait for a bit, pull back to continue the buys. That is for the counter trend, which I'm not actually interested in the counter trend trades. I don't like them. But if I say a clean one like AUD NZD, I'll be interested. So basically, that's what we wait for here after the counter trend is for market to pull back to this area, shift our structure to sell. But this market might not even happen this week. But I mean, this week might just be the counter trend. Then maybe next week the main sells. So the last pair we have is USD card. So USD card, what I'm actively waiting for is just for the pullback to continue the buys. But you can see market is clearly bullish here. So by the time we're having this pullback here, it's going to shift bearish because this will become, it will break this low and make, because market now is above here, this is the lower, higher low and the higher high. So by the time we're going down here, we're creating, shifting bearish on the daily. So we need another shift of structure once we reach the area of interest to continue buying. On the weekly, we are obviously very bullish on the weekly time frame. So that's basically it. If you like my analysis, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Check my bio to join my Telegram channel, and I'll also the link for my WhatsApp channel too is on my bio, is in my Telegram. So do it to join the Telegram and WhatsApp channels too. So I'll see you guys next week. So these are basically what I have for the week. So see you guys later.